The St. Louis Blues make a sneaky move as Doug Armstrong has acquired a perfect defenseman coming from the Eastern Conference as Jim Montgomery gives multiple updates as he continues shuffling lines. We have so much to break down in this episode, and you're not going to want to miss any of that. But before we get into that, Darius, I just want to give a huge shout out to everyone watching. If you're part of the 4,672, if you haven't hit the sub button yet, and you want to stay up to date on everything to do around the St. Louis Blues, make sure to go down and hit that free subscribe button. We'll be giving you daily updates from all around the team, including trades, reports, rumors, anything you can think of. So there's no better place. So go down and hit that free subscribe button. It would mean the world. But with that, let's just dive straight into this trade today, where the St. Louis Blues and Doug Armstrong made a bit of a sneaky move today, going out to reacquire Calle Rosen once on the Blues. And Darius, the biggest thing with this is there's a lot with this Blues defense. We know a lot of players are struggling. Logan Mailloux, I think, is a -9. Fowler and Broberg, both -4s. And bringing in Calle Rosen, who actually just scored the OT goal at the Thunderdome on Friday. He wanted to stay. What is your thoughts on bringing back a former Blue and a veteran to this team? And we're going to touch on the implications, but just as Calle Rosen as a whole, what is your thoughts on bringing him through?
Yeah, I think this makes a lot of sense. And a lot of people out there this morning are asking, why would they make this move? Does it make them better? Because usually, when you're making a trade, especially one like this, you're like, does it even make the Blues or the organization better? To me, the player that's going out the door has less NHL experience. Rosen has more NHL experience, and he's been with this organization before. He's been with the St. Louis Blues. So to me, this offers some, I think, stability on the back end if they want, like we've talked about, Hunter Skinner to stay down there in the minors, continue his development. And then you have other players like Logan Mailloux that are struggling. Maybe Calle Rosen could see some time at the NHL level. A lot of people are speculating he's going to be sent down. And actually, a lot of people are speculating that this is not the only move we're going to see. We could be seeing another move, whether it's a roster move or a trade in the next day or two. And of course, the Blues play tonight. We're going to have more updates on that in a second, and a big update on Robert Thomas. So stay tuned for that. But I think it makes a ton of sense. This is not a guy who's going to move the needle or anything, but I think in a season that has had almost no stability throughout the lineup, the lineup's been in the blender. They haven't been able to win games. This does make sense to me.
And I think the big thing is looking at this, going in on Hunter Skinner for a minute. If you're recalling this player from the AHL, there's a chance that he gets claimed on waivers. So bringing in Calle Rosen, if you wanted to make a change, if Matthew Kessel goes down with an injury, or if the team needs to bring up that extra defenseman, and if they want to sit Logan Mailloux, Calle Rosen makes the perfect sense. Like you said, having quite a few games in the NHL, he had quite a good stint with the St. Louis Blues as well, going out with 18 points in 49 games just a couple of seasons ago. So I think bringing in a veteran defenseman, 31, that kind of has bounced around the league, getting back someone that's used to not this system, because I mean Jim Montgomery's here, but used to the organization, the fan base. We know a lot of the management was still here when he was with the organization. So I think looking at the greater schemes, Calle Rosen is not going to be a full-time Blue. If he does, that would be crazy. And listen, I'll put his jersey right behind me because that would be outstanding. But I do like this when looking at the implications of the thing, because once again, you bring him up, he can get into this lineup. He has the leadership. He's been around the NHL. He knows what it takes to play in the NHL and stay in. And they also did make a second trade during this as well, where we can see Sam Bitten went from Springfield for future considerations. And Darius, listen, just looking at this trade, do you think there is going to be a roster move, or could this just be the management saying, hey, we want to bring in more guys that have experience around the NHL just in case things continue to go south?
I think that's what it is. Like I said, I think it really honestly at this point comes down to stability. When you're looking at Tyler Tucker, who has been playing very well, and I know Jim Montgomery's a big fan of his. I'm a big fan of his. I think that he brings all of the intangibles as well. Obviously, the skill is there, but he brings all the stuff that you need in order to win in the playoffs as well. Does he play a whole season? I don't know. Maybe Calle Rosen can come in and play some games at the NHL level, right? In that position, not just in, for Tyler Tucker in that position, but maybe Logan Mailloux as well, or even Matthew Kessel, like we've been talking about, right? So just adding a little bit more to the organization. And obviously a guy, like you mentioned, did put up some decent points last time he was here in St. Louis, and I think could be a really good option, at least to stabilize things. And that's kind of what I was talking about when we were talking about Kessel coming in for Logan Mailloux at the start of the season. Is Kessel a better defenseman? Does he have a higher ceiling? No, probably not, but he can help stabilize things. He's been here before. He has that experience. experience, right? So I think that's what this move for Calle Rosen is in a nutshell. And we'll see if they end up utilizing him. We'll see if they end up making any other moves, like Sam Bitten, of course, being moved away as well. That frees up some space, later in the season for some guys to maybe come up from the ECHL. Maybe a guy like Justin Carbonneau, if things don't go well in the QMJHL playoffs, to come in, play some AHL games as well. So leaves a little bit of room in that way in terms of roster space. So pretty interesting moves this morning. I think the Blues are going to continue to be active because now we're in November, and if things don't pick up, they're going to be active. They're going to be making some interesting moves.
And I mean, Blues fans, what is your thoughts on this? Do you think Calle Rosen gets into games? Do you think there's another move on the horizon? Let us know down in the comments, but we'll go straight into the second topic where we look like Robert Thomas is returning to tonight's game. Now listen, losing Robert Thomas and Jake Neighbors in the same span sucked, but Darius getting Robert Thomas back into this lineup, and you could probably see from the lineup itself, is going to be quite interesting. And we have an update on Dvorsky as well. But what is your thoughts on Robert Thomas coming back and looking like Suter and Schenn is going to be stationed on the second line, with Schenn probably taking most faceoffs?
Yeah, I think very interesting lines, first of all, but this is huge for this game in particular. We talked about this week being a very busy week for the Blues in our last video. They're playing the Edmonton Oilers and Connor McDavid tonight. You want that 1v1 matchup in the center dot with Robert Thomas on the defensive side of the puck, offensively, all the time, right? It would be tough if Schenn had to go up against Connor McDavid, or if it was Dvorsky, right, going up against Connor McDavid. So it's a really, really good thing that he's back in the lineup, and obviously that he's healthy, right? So hopefully he stays in the lineup and he continues with good health throughout the rest of the season. But the other thing when looking at the lineup, Mark, is Dvorsky is staying at center. Braden Schenn has moved to the wing, which I think is pretty interesting. With Suter, that's a very interesting dynamic, and I think Schenn can probably take faceoffs anyway throughout the game, and they'll figure it out as they go because obviously both of them can play center. But Dvorsky sticking at the center position, third line, him and Holloway, I'm interested to see what they do together. So that'll be a lot of fun, but I think that speaks volumes to what Dvorsky's done so far since being called up to the NHL. And I'm looking at him tonight to continue to win faceoffs and play his game. And I think they can take advantage of some things with the Edmonton Oilers. So hopefully they pick up a win here because they need one desperately as we, are well underway into the month of November at this point.
And I think the biggest thing is looking at the team with Dvorsky still here. We're seeing Jim also leave a lot of trust in where he's joining the #1 power play unit with Thomas coming in as well. So he's going to get more opportunities with this group. You can see both power play units going through Dvorsky, Thomas, Snuggerud, Falk, and Booch. This is going to be an elite top pair. And a lot of people are going to look at Falk and say, hey, maybe Fowler should be playing here, maybe Broberg. But this is a team that's giving a lot of trust into their young players. And I mean, even looking with this, working on the power rate, Snuggerud and Dvorsky are on the same unit, playing opposite sides. Snuggerud just hit Dvorsky with a zip pass, and he buried it as well. What is your thoughts on the new look top line coming through on this game? And do you think Dvorsky finally gets his first on the St. Louis Blues roster?
Listen, the guys on the team aren't getting it done. Why not give the kids a chance, right? This makes a lot of sense. And we saw in a game last week, Snuggerud, come in off the wing and rip a shot, like just an elite shot on Snuggerud, right? So you have that weapon on the power play there. Now you have Dvorsky there. In practice, you could see this, that, they were whipping it around, trying different things, and obviously putting the puck in the back of the net. So why not give some of the younger guys a chance? Buchnevich has been great using his body this year as well, creating space. So he's going to be net front, and then Justin Falk as well. I think that, of course, Logan Mailloux doesn't look like he's not going to play in this game, and we'll see what happens in the future, but should probably be given an opportunity on the power play as well, because that's what he does. So why not put him in a position to succeed? So that is just a thought there, but I do like the first power play unit tonight. I'm excited to see it get to work, because I feel like sometimes, Mark, guys can get complacent. They're trying the same things all the time. If you give the younger guys a shot with that opportunity, like, I feel like they're going to make the most of it. So hopefully it gets going tonight. And they're going to need it. They need it. They need to get in the win column tonight. That's for sure.
And that's the biggest thing. I mean, looking at Jim Montgomery, he told guys not to buy an apartment because they weren't going to be guaranteed on the team, even though we knew Snuggerud was going to make it. But what's your guys' thoughts on this? What is your thoughts on the Calle Rosen trade? What is your thoughts on Dvorsky staying at center, the lineup change, Robert Thomas coming back? Let us know all your thoughts down in the comments. And speaking of comments, we're going to comment today. Falk has time on ice. of 23 minutes and 23 seconds. Major issue in glaring hole. The big thing with Falk, he shows flashes, but like you said, Darius, I think maybe changing this up, if he doesn't work on the power play, Logan Mailloux is the perfect guy to throw onto the Fowler, Broberg, any of these pieces. But let us know what you would change in the lineup down below, and you could be featured on Comment of the Day. While you're down there, leave a like, subscribe, share this with your friends. We'll be back in another episode, so keep your eye out for that. But I've been your host, Mark, with my co-host Darius. Listen, I did it normal this time, but take care, boys.